I spend a different amount of times. I mean, there are times where I'll be cutting the grass to doing the washing on the under-16s, or actually helping out with the coaching. So it varies. At this time of year, we're sort of calming down a little bit, getting ready for the new committee to take over. So we're helping out there. But generally, it's all hands for during the week to get ready for the weekend for the under-16s, 18s, and the minis to play rugby there. So yes, it can be up to about 3 or 4 days a week sometimes, and a couple of nights during the week as well.
The question's not why. I'm sure you love what you do, but I mean, do you feel that rugby's a massive part of your life because of this, because of the commitment you're making to the club?
Yeah, I think every time we do better in certain matches, for example, we want to spend more time with the guys, getting the rugby to the forefront again. So we do spend more time here, and we want to help out in the community, bringing the sport on as well. It's a bit of a football area, so we try to keep the rugby to the forefront and make it worth our while for ourselves and for the kids, because at the end of the day, it's the kids that are important in the long run, because they are our new team out there and when they're age 18 plus.
Tell me about some of the challenges you've got. You know, I know geography is a challenge for clubs like yourselves and Caithness and Highland to a certain extent as well. So what challenges do you have in terms of the way you interact with players, you get players in and so on?
Yeah, certainly the area is massive. It's one of the largest areas in Scotland for a rugby club. Getting people across to play and to train is difficult. We're bringing people across from the west coast of Scotland to then bus across to Aberdeen for a game. So it's a challenge in itself. And the costs it takes to get to the islands, especially things like that, is also very, very busy. But however, it's worth it, because at the end of the day, they're playing good rugby and getting out there and seeing other people. So the challenges are there, but we always overcome them. And thankfully, with the help of a lot of the corporate help we're getting from the local area, we're trying to fund that as well. So it's a challenge, but we'll make it work and we'll get there.
Now, you're on the East Coast and you're talking about bringing kids from, I think you mentioned Applecross. Mm-hmm. How long does it take those kids to actually just get to the rugby club?
To get to, well, from Applecross, for example, to Plockton, to get the main bus across, it's probably about an hour to an hour and a half sometimes, and then another hour and a half on top of that. So 3 hours, 3.5 hours to get to the club, to then go and play a game of rugby, or even go on the bus and go to another game, which could be in Caithness or Aberdeenshire. So it's a long, long day for them, but they always want to play, they're keen to play, and they're still smiling on the way back as well. So well done to all the players who help out.
All that must cost money, so how do you manage to finance your programmes here at the club?
Obviously with help from assistance from the SRU, that is also a challenge, because we have probably a larger area than some of the Central Belt clubs, but we try our hardest to make that work. We're working with a lot of the local area funding groups, with lottery, and we're looking at a new project with the Cromarty Firth Port Authority, which is based here in Invergordon, to try and assist us in our development of community rugby. And that will be something to help in the future. It's in infancy at the moment, and I think it will be working for the next 3 years. We're always looking for more help, and one of my jobs at the moment is to try and find this funding. And yes, there are challenges, but I think we'll overcome them as we move along.
Do you see this area, do you see rugby in this area as a growth sport? Do you see it on the rise?
Yes, I do. I mean, I certainly think in this area on the East Coast, where we have our competition from the likes of the Highland clubs, but also the SPL clubs in football. We don't have the strong pull from Shinty, but we are getting there now, and I think rugby is becoming a bigger sport, and we're getting into the clubs, into the schools as well, should I say. The schools being a primary school and secondary schools, where we have over 60 schools to see on a weekly basis with our community coach. So yeah, it's building, and I'm glad to see that our membership base here at Invergordon is increasing year by year.
It's an individual award, but I think it's also a club award, because it recognises what's been done at the club. How much does it mean to you and the club to get recognition?
It means a lot. You forget that you put in the work in sometimes, but you're only part of a teamwork, you're only part of a chain, and the link is very important. Without the rest of the guys on the committee, without the coaches and supporters, and very importantly the parents of the players who help on the junior side, it's very, very important, and it is for them that this volunteer award is all about. It's for Ross Sutherland Rugby and for the area, and hopefully more and more people like myself will get this award again.